core issue. I think that has been between India and Pakistan. This is very helpful in the debate as we go forward. I'll circle back with you, but before that,
Sure.
I'd like to bring a question from for Mr. Mushahid Hussain, Senator Hussain. I think we have one of our guest speakers unfortunately got sick because of COVID. Nagma Morarji, she is a senior member of Indian National Congress, and she has a question for you, Mr. Mushahid. She says that ED Foundation made a offer of 50 ambulances to India, and that was a really nice gesture. But there was a statement from Prime Minister Imran Khan in his yesterday where he expressed his concern, showing solidarity to India about this COVID situation. What's your comment on that?
Thank you very much. And before I respond to her question, and I wish her good luck in the COVID situation, I just want to make just a couple of comments were made by the distinguished speaker before me, Mr. Majid Memon. I think people are entitled to their opinions, but I think the facts should be sacred. Jammu and Kashmir is disputed territory under international law and the UN Charter. And Pakistan is not interfering. We didn't start the popular, spontaneous, widespread and indigenous uprising in occupied Kashmir. The Kashmiri people themselves said it. They themselves rejected. And we just saw the letter, the speech of Muzaffar Shah Saab's grandfather, Sheikh Abdullah Saab, who was jailed by Mr. Nehru for 10 years for these views which he expressed, speaking, although he was not against the Indian Union, but still, because he spoke up for Kashmiri rights, he paid a price for that. And he was a political prisoner, despite his personal rapport once upon a time with Mr. Nehru. So I think when we talk of terrorism, we have just published a dossier, and I'll send you the copy of that, in November 2020, where we have documented Indian state terrorism against Pakistan. And even now, 22nd April, there was a bomb blast in Quetta, which our government blamed on India. But despite that, we delinked that Indian action from humanity by giving this gesture. And this is a gesture which has been widely appreciated, whether it's the Prime Minister of Pakistan, whether it's the ED Foundation. And please see the Twitter hashtag for the last 3 days, Pakistan stands with India. This was a popular thing. I was one of them also who tweeted the same, because we feel that humanity has to come first. And we remember also, let me set the record straight. In 2014, December 16, when Pakistani school children were killed in the army public school episode in Peshawar, Indian school kids were expressing solidarity with us. So you see, there is that level of humanity among the people of India, among the people of Pakistan. But of course, I think when we talk of facts, and Memon Saab also said that India, we were once part of India. Well, India was once part of the British Empire, and then they were part of, they were not India then, they were some series of states under Mughal Empire. So I think when we talk of history, I think we should be very clear on that. And on Kashmir, we are very clear. You started with poetry and literature. We can't have Hamlet without the Prince of Denmark. So we can't have Pakistan-India normalization without the settlement of Kashmir, in accordance with the wishes and aspirations of Kashmiri people. And the status quo in occupied Kashmir post-August 5, 2019, when it was illegally annexed by India, is totally unacceptable to the people of Kashmir. It's not about Pakistan, as I said. It's the people of Kashmir. They have rejected it. They have stood firm. They are resisting. And finally, I'd like to say about the situation. Arundhati Roy is an Indian writer, and she wrote in August 15 in the New York Times that silence is the loudest sound. And she said that the RSS is the state in India today, and an architecture of fascism is being erected. This is an Indian writer writing about India, not about Pakistan. So I think that it's important that despite these differences, despite these humps, despite these difficulties, we have to act as civilized neighbors based on equality and reciprocity. And we hope that in 2021, whether it's driven by the UAE, whether it's driven by Mr. Modi's own difficulties, Pakistan, and I mean the people of Pakistan, the state of Pakistan, and all stakeholders in Pakistan are ready to move forward with India. And by the way, when India sent us a message, they want to discuss, move forward and did the U-turn under Mr. Modi. they mentioned the willingness to discuss Jammu and Kashmir also. So I think that it's on the table because problems can't be wished away. And Muzaffar Shah Sahab also mentioned that. We thought the Palestine issue had been resolved after Camp David and the Oslo Accords. Then the Intifada began. We thought that the Gulf War had resolved the issue of Saddam Hussein in 1991. Then again it surfaced in 2003. We thought that the Afghanistan issue had been resolved in 89 after the defeat of the Red Army and the exit of the Soviet Union from Afghanistan. It's come back with a bang. So you cannot wish problems away or push them under the carpet unless they are resolved. We have to do that. And that's why I really feel that we have three models for that. We have the model of Mr. Vajpayee, the Nixonian vision, one grand gesture which requires a lot of courage, a lot of will and political vision. He showed that. Nixon showed that with China. Then there's the what I call the Nawaz Sharif model.
After
We'll talk
Vajpayee's
of
visit, the Kargil
enabling-
war happened. What about
Please
the
don't
Kargil
interrupt
war?
me. Justice Saab, please don't interrupt me because I didn't interrupt anybody else. Let me complete. You can do your point scoring
Can you-
afterwards. Then
Or are you
secondly,
carrying on for
there is the-
on and on?
No, please. I think if you asked me to invited me, then I'll let me have
No,
my
you
say.
invited, but
You can-
others also
Okay.
want to speak.
Otherwise, it will be a dialogue of the deaf. If we want to talk to each other, we can have a dialogue
Okay,
of the
please
deaf.
talk. Okay, please talk.
So the first model was Mr. Vajpayee. The second model was Mr. Nawaz Sharif's enabling environment. He did it with Mr. I. Gujral also, incremental steps. And even our military establishment has been waiting for that. General Musharraf wanted a outreach, but Mr. Manmohan Singh was held back by his hawks there. And then now we have the Modi model, which is a tried, tested, and failed formula. He tried to demonize Pakistan. He tried to isolate Pakistan. He's tried to destabilize Pakistan. That has failed. So that is boomerang. So I think we talk of ground realities. Let us move forward with a big heart, with a larger vision, and on equality and reciprocity, and then we can do that. So I feel that it's important. But if we start going back and forth, yes, there's a long list we have. You may have also try to have a list. But India is the bigger country. They have to have this outreach. And they should not have an ideological foreign policy because size does not equal strength. You cannot bully browbeat neighbors. Nepal has changed its map under the constitution because they rejected Indian bullying. Bangladesh is resisting the Citizenship Amendment Act. So it's we live in the 21st century and the world has changed. And if you have to have a rules-based order, it's not based on bullying and browbeating. It has to be based on respect for each other's sovereignty and independence and not try to destabilize, demonize, or isolate. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mr. Mushahid. Certainly, this is a dialogue, not a monologue. We certainly allow guest speakers respect and time to speak, and thanks for your perspective. With that, I would like to actually ask a question to Justice Kaju. I would like to hear his perspective on this India-Pakistan peace initiative. Justice Kaju, I wanted to ask you, recently, Indian economy has dived about 25% in GDP, and with the demonetization and with this GST issues, Indian economy is really seeing a huge downturn. We'd like to hear from you. Is this India Peace Initiative just kind of a diversion from these issues, or is it a genuine effort or a genuine initiative from Indian side?